Hello friends. I welcome you back in the second lecture of the module 1. In the last lecture, we had an introduction about the network theory, and then we see the classifications of network theory, in which circumstances you can apply the network theorems considering RLC as a passive linear elements. Okay. As far as particularly the inductive type passive elements are concerned, or inductors are concerned, in which circumstances you can assume it as a linear element or not, and therefore you will be able to consider the circuit as a linear circuit or not. Then followed by we had a discussion about the self and mutual inductance, mutual coupling if there are more than one coil exist in the network at the same time. Maybe both the coils or the multiple coils are influenced with one another or each other in the same environment, then it is called the mutual coupling. Then we also discussed about the magnitude of mutual coupling, how it is affecting the equivalent amount of inductance in the network, and to understand, have a better understanding, or to develop the better understanding over this particular topic, we also consider the case of dot conversion theory, when in a real scenario, when you have a number of complex network, a complex circuit which is a married of number of networks, then in that case, if there are more than one inductive elements are there, and those inductive elements are influencing each other in that particular network, in that case how mutual inductance will play a critical role. Okay. So to continue our discussion, I hope that you all have been able to solve it. So if you see the standard uh, answer, what you call the solution of this particular problem. So the equivalent amount of inductance, you must have got the product of L1 L2 minus M square upon, in the denominator side you must get L1 plus L2 minus twice of M. Okay. So let me be confirm. Yes, you must get minus of twice of M, right? So remember, so your whole product in the numerator L1 L2 minus M square is reduced by the factor of L1 plus L2 minus twice of M. When two coils are connected in a parallel network having the influence, that is the direction of flow of current or the direction of the flux in the same direction. If the direction of flow is in opposite direction, the current or the flux direction, in that case, as I have given you another set of problem, just to modify that, you consider either any one dot is incoming and another is out, indicating the outgoing of the current. In that case, the numerator will remain same as far as the equivalent inductance is concerned. That is the product of L1 L2 minus M square. But in the denominator, you must have get L1 plus L2 plus twice of M. That means if the dot conversion is in opposite direction, okay, in that case, the denominator, the numerator, that which is the product of L1 L2 minus M square, is reduced by the factor of L1 plus L2 plus twice of M. So remember that when the dot conversion is opposite end, as far as the parallel combination of the mutually coupled coils are concerned, in that case denominator is increased by the factor of twice of M. Okay, and if the dot goes in the same direction, then the denominator is reduced by the factor of twice of M. So therefore the L equivalent in case of this, when both the dot conversion are in the same direction, is that L equivalent is more than the when the dot conversion in opposite direction. So that proves your justification. So in the continue to the same end, you can try this kind of combination and try to work it out the problem. Okay, so this is the reason that as far as the in the beginning we also consider the maximum power transfer theorem in our studies. The reason is that whenever there is a coupled network, then you also have to consider the amount of energy to be transformed, as it is shown in this particular slide. You can see that the two networks, the primary side network is the circuit impedance is considered ZA, and the load impedance of the primary side is considered ZL, while in the secondary side the amount of equivalent source is considered as a current source. It is the equivalent Norton's network primarily, and overall the combination is a two-port hybrid network, or is an example of a, what can you guess? It is an example of amplifier. Okay, uh, combination amplifiers. Yeah, It is basically you can say that both are the impedance case. So it is a transformation amplifiers. So in the secondary side, we consider an equivalent Norton network, and therefore you can find the IBS and ICS. Okay, and if you see again, the justification will be the remain as per the maximum power transfer theorem is that you can transform the maximum amount of energy from one port to another port only if the complex conjugate of the both the circuit impedance, that is Z ZB, are complex conjugate of each other. Right? So question comes that in this network, how the both the end are connected. So remember that it is not the two exactly separated network. The lower potential end is actually same. The ground terminal is establishing the common path. Try to solve these problems. That is we have been already discussed. So let us quickly switch to the amount of energy. When we talk about the energy transformation, then how much amount of energy is being carried between the two linearly coupled coil. So we consider the same scenario, the two parallel combination of L1 and L2, that is the coupled coils, along with the dot conversion. So you can repeat this particular exercise, and as you can see that the amount of mutually inductance, that is M12 and M21. If you are revisiting from consider from 1 to 2, or you are coming back in the revert direction, that is 2 to 1 is same. So the amount of mutual inductance is M, and the coefficient of coupling K is represented by root over L1 2. So obviously in this previous circuit, as it is shown, the amount of net energy is carrying by the input of this coupled network can be given by V1 I1 integration 0 to t. Obviously it is V1 I1 plus V2 I2 dt. So if you are going to substitute the value of V1 and V2 from the previous equations, that is L1 di by dt plus M di2 by dt, and V2 is equal to L2 di2 by dt plus M di1 by dt. Substitute these values, try to simplify the permutations combination, separate the L1 I1 square part, separate the L2 I2 square part, and the remaining mutually induced part. So you will get the equation number 9.27. Okay, and in this particular conversion, you can say that you are obtaining the equation number 9.27 as referred in this particular book, that the total amount of energy is in additive. And what if the dot conversion will be in opposite direction? So in that case, remember this product of mutually induced value M I1 I2 will be having a negative sign. So in any circumstances, the value of amount of energy stored in the coil or in any network cannot be a negative in any circumstances. So obviously it has to be greater than or zero, or more than equal to greater than or zero. So obviously the two factors L1 I1 square or L2 I2 square cannot be lesser than the zero. So rest the remaining component is M I1 I2. So if you are going to substitute this particular value by considering the k is equal to root over of L1 L2. So if you are going to substitute these values, you are obtaining the modified equation, that is 9.29. And from here you can see that the first factor you are getting half of L1 root over L1 I1 minus root over L2 I2 of the whole square. So obviously this term can't be negative. So what else is remains? So now to keep this term to be always being positive, it is necessary that the second term, that is root over of L1 L2 minus M, should be always greater than or equal to 0. So if it is so, then we can modify it, say that the whole product, this second statement if you see of the 9.29, should be greater than equal to 0. So if you are modified that, the value of M should be always lesser than or equal to root over of L1, and it can't surpass the value of root over of L1 L2 at any circumstance or in any circumstances, right? So at any circumstances. So in obviously, therefore, to meet this particular compulsion, it implies that the equation number 9.30, the value of k should be maybe more than 0, but should be always less than. That's how we are able to justify it, and it also justifies that at any point of time, the amount of leakage flux due to the mutually induced flux can never be more than the self-induced flux as far as in the coil is concerned. That means the amount of flux flowing through the coil 1 which is influencing the amount of energy, that is half of L1 I1 square, cannot be lesser than the amount of mutually induced magnet. Okay, remember. So it's a simple problem. I hope that you will be able to solve it. Okay, and if you again find any difficulty, so at the beginning of the lecture we can discuss in the next series. Okay. So let us come to our one of applications as per the syllabus. So there are many application. Transformer is one of the applications. Okay. So we know that what is a transformer? It is a device which is basically used to step up or step down the voltage level during the transmission, whether it is any micro electronic circuits or nano electronic circuits are concerned, or whether it is a electrical power distribution and the transmission systems are concerned. The job of transformer is same, either it is used to step up or step down the voltage without changing the power level. And as far as the ideal transformer is concerned, then there are certain signatures. So obviously the amount of resistance loss in any transformer ideally should be zero. What do you mean by the ideal resistance loss should be zero? So that means the amount of loss due to the transmission of a power, okay, or uh, the resistance voltage drop. That is the ohmic power loss, or you can say that the resistance voltage drop should be negligible, or in fact theoretically it should be zero. Now that can be only achieved if the core that the is made of soft irons, okay, or the soft steels, what we call. Okay. Yeah, and therefore you can achieve it only if the material's permeability is infinite. The mu is infinite. Now if the material permeability is infinite, so it indicates that the amount of magnetomotive force to influence or to generate the flux should be zero, theoretically zero. So practically obviously it is not possible, so therefore we try to take the combination, consider the combination of material, what you call the soft steel, okay, which is basically used to design the core of the transformers. And if you are going to consider is the losses, so obviously the both the primary and secondary side will indicate the certain amount of loss which in this circuit, in this linear transformer we have indicated with the help of R1 and R2 the amount of losses possessed by the primary and the secondary side. So rest I think the dot conversion you can apply and you can try to solve the problem. So it will remain the same concept, and I hope you will find no difficulties to. So I hope you will be able to develop the understanding of this particular problem. So let us proceed to the next slide. So this is all about the open circuit and short circuit test of the transformer. What it indicates? It indicates to identify the values of the certain shunt parameters and the series parameters in case of transformer. At the same time, these tests are also help us to identify the amount of core loss and the copper loss in transformer. So let us discuss one by one in a very brief. So first we consider the open circuit test, or which is also recognized as a no load test. Why is it called no load test? Because what we do, the secondary side, you remember your load is always connected, the end user is always connected in the secondary side of the terminal. So in the secondary side of the terminal, load impedance is kept open, just like the way we apply the Thevenin's and Norton theorems. Okay, so over the electrical network. This I said just an example for your better understanding. So what we will do, we keep the output terminal of the secondary side open, and that therefore the involvement of the secondary side into the equivalent electrical network of this transformation circuit is now nullified. So therefore now whatever the loss is being calculated, that is occur because of the core of the transformer only, which is in the primary side. So therefore it is recognized as the this test, open circuit test, or what we call the no load test, is used to calculate or identify the amount of core loss in the transformer. And that is the reason if you see the parallel equivalent circuit of the network, okay, this test is used to find the shunt parameters of the network, okay, typically the voltage ratios, okay, or in other words the turn ratios. Okay. One example is demonstrated, so you can take your time and you can solve it later stage. So the next topic, that is your short circuit test. Again, now if you have the understanding of the previous slides, so very quickly here you can appreciate that as you can see in the equivalent circuit, the secondary side of the terminal, that is the load impedance side, is the short circuited in the secondary side terminal. So that's why it is also called a short circuit test. So this particular test is used to determine the series parameter as against the shunt parameter in case of open circuit test. Okay, and that is why this particular test in this combination, so V can be reciprocated to short circuit voltage and the I can be reciprocated to short circuit current, and this therefore it is used to so when we got the short circuit combination, but the short circuit is basically when the flow of current is abundant, or in what we say that resistance less, almost the amount of impact of resistance is zero. Okay, so therefore it is used to calculate the series parameters of the network, and in other words you can say that it is used to calculate the I square R loss. Okay, that is the power I square R loss, the dissipation factor. Okay, so is you, or in other words you can say that it is also used to calculate the copper loss. Let us consider the next. This is all about the um, applications of the mutually coupled coils. That means when one more than one coils are coupled and they are mutually induced in the same network. Let us consider another interesting topic, that is the duality principle. Okay, so what if, like, sometimes you might find a little difficulty to solve a particular network. So what you can do, you can create the dual of the network. Okay, so how you can assume that, say for example, the role if of um, say a capacitor in the series connected network can be represented as the equivalent value of inductance in a parallel connected network. So in that case, you can say that the inductor and the capacitor are the duality of each other. So you can have the duality of an element, you can have the dual of that there for the circuits, and therefore you sometimes you can say that you can have a dual of the entire integrated system. Okay. So let us see what is the duality. If an electrical network is governed by the same type of equation, by the same type of mathematical model of the network, okay, lender to consider that the network is known as the dual of the original network. So if you see, say for example, quantity and the duality, so obviously the charge is the dual is the flux, current the dual is the voltage, resistance the dual is the conductance G, and inductance the dual is the capacitance, or vice versa. Loop current is the dual of node pair voltage. Number of loops can be a dual of number of node pairs. Mesh current is the dual of the node potential. Link is the dual of the tree. Okay. Now this particular topic typically we discuss in the under the head of graph theory little later, as far as the link and chords or the tree branch are concerned. Okay. So right away you can neglect it if you are coming first time as far as the subject is concerned. Short circuit can be equivalent is the dual is the open circuit. Series path is the dual of the shunt. Parallel and the vice versa. Parallel is the series. So let us see, try to understand with the help of one example. In this slide, we consider a very simple network. We consider an instantaneous voltage source, and we consider a resistance. C, the capacitance is the common between the loop, and in the second loop, inductance is involved. Inductance is involved. Fine. So how the duality circuit you are going to establish? So we are going to create. Remember the equal number of dots as the number of loop or the mesh you have in your electrical network. So as far as this demonstration is concerned, how many loops you have? Two loops, correct. So therefore we will establish two dot over the in the middle of the each particular loop or mesh. Okay, so let us consider the two dots are created established as dot number 1 and the dot number 2. So now what you need to do, that you are going to connect uh, these two dots along with by establishing one more dot at the outside of the loop. Always remember, it is always a mandate. It doesn't matter how many loops you have in your electrical network or electronic network, you are going to consider one dot at the outside of the loop, considering that that outside dot is the lower potential terminal, that is the connected to the ground. Okay, so now each of the dot should connected with the another dot by considering one element at a time. So that means one element you have to be consider whenever you are going to connect any of the two dots. Now, not it is, remember that it is not at all necessary that you have to interconnected all the three dots in this example. Okay, what I said that each dotted line should consider, when it is interconnecting the two dots, should consider at least one element or one source at a time. You cannot consider two sources at the same time. Okay, so that's the check. So as you can see in this demonstration, the dot number 1 and 3 is connected once through the R, another time through the voltage source. Dot number 1 and 2 are interconnected through considering the element capacitance. Dot number 2 and 3 are considering the one element in the secondary loop, that is the L. So now you can redraw the equal number of dots in the outside of the network, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there is no exact position, you can put in any direction in any way. Now between 1 and 2 in the original network there was a capacitance. So we know that the dual, because we consider the loop network here mesh network, so now we are going to consider work out the equivalent nodal circuit of this particular mesh circuit, because mesh is the dual of the nodal, as we know. Okay, so now between 1 and 2 in the original network there was a capacitance, so here it should be the inductance. Okay, so the new inductance in the dual network is represented by L dash, the new resistance is inducted by R dash, and the new capacitance is inducted by indicated by the C dash to avoid any kind of confusion, where the value of this L dash is equal to C, right? Okay, because L is the dual of the C. Now between 2 and 3 there was a inductance. So now it is going to represent by the equivalent capacitance. Okay, so the 2 and 3 are interconnected through a capacitance. The new capacitance is C dash, and the value of C dash, how much microfarad it is? It is exactly equal to the amount of L Henry in this previous network. Okay, so C dash is going to represent by L. Similarly, the dot 1 and 3 are interconnecting to one source and one element at a time. So when we consider the resistive elements, so the new resistance is R dash, which is nothing but it is the conductance. So you know G. Now G is equal to 1 by R. So the new value of R dash is equal to 1 by R, or equal to G, you can write. Okay. Similarly, between 1 and 3 there was a voltage source which is connected in series. So now between 1 and 3 there will be a current source which is connected in parallel. So 1 and 3 it is connecting 1, and R is in parallel to that. So therefore the new circuit is the dual of the previous network. So that's how sometime you can create the dual of the network without violating the boundary of the mathematical model, and you will be in position to simplify the electrical network or solve in a simpler step. So obviously the response time is or improving. Okay, while you are going to consider the uh, uh, mutual inductance and dot coupling theory, what we discussed here, or whether it is a duality network, you can appreciate that there can be sometimes is a possible, there is a possibility that you can have a dependent sources. Okay, now what is independent sources? Now independent sources is not influenced by any flow of current or voltage in this particular induced network, but the dependent sources is always is a source which has an influence of a flow of a particular current or voltage in this network other than its own. So it is called the dependent source. Okay, sometimes it is also called the controlled sources. So remember, your voltage source can be a dependent source or can be a controlled source, and current source can be a dependent source or the controlled source. Now when you say that it is a dependent or controlled, so which parameter? Again the possibilities can be both, because we have a current and voltage. Okay, sometimes your voltage can be an independent variable, and sometimes current can also be independent variable. So you have again two more possibilities. So the dependent or the controlled current sources now is going to emerge four possibilities, as you can appreciate in this particular slide. So let's say we consider the first is voltage controlled voltage source, a kind of voltage source which is driven or controlled by another voltage in this electrical or electronic network. Okay. Similarly, you can have a voltage controlled current source. Okay, a current source which is controlled by the voltage in some other voltage in that particular network. Similarly, as far as the current sources are concerned, it can again two category: current controlled current source and the current controlled voltage sources. So let us see one after the other. So if you see, this is nothing but it is the ideal equation or the ideal model of an transformation circuit like the amplifier. Okay, so let us see, consider one by one. The number one is the voltage controlled voltage source. So when you see that voltage controlled voltage source, so we are in this particular model we have represented of my voltage source is equal to A of Vi, where A is the dimensionless proportionality constant, okay, or is a gain of the network, fine, and Vi is basically the uh, input voltage. Now if you exactly see in this particular model, the Vi is written as open circuit input voltage. Why open circuit? Because you are saying that this particular voltage source in this network is controlled by the voltage. So if it is controlled by the voltage, so across this those two port or between the port, you can say that the exchange of current is zero. If it is a voltage controlled, so obviously the magnitude of current is least, or in other words, theoretically it is zero. So if the magnitude of current is zero, so that means the input side will be considered as the open circuited. So therefore the value of I, incoming current, is zero, or in other words the Vi is the same magnitude is of influence with the Vs, but it depends on the proportionality constant of the network or the amplifier, fine. So therefore in this case A is representing the dimensionless proportionality constant, and particularly you can say that it is a voltage gain because value of A is equal to Vs by Vi, so it is a voltage gain. Similarly, if you see the second model, which is a voltage controlled current source, so your Is is equal to A times of Vi. Obviously, because it is a voltage controlled, again the value of Vi where it is influence across the node, the amount of incoming current will be zero because it is voltage current, so the magnitude of incoming current should be theoretically zero. So your Is is equal to A of Vi. Similarly, if you consider the current controlled model, you have two combinations: current controlled current source. If it is a current controlled current source, so you remember the value of Vi, input voltage, should be zero theoretically. So if it is zero, so obviously the input terminal is short circuited, and you can say that it is a current controlled current source. So the value of Is is equal to A times of II. So therefore now this time A is representing the current gain. Okay, it's a dimensionless current gain, remember. And in voltage controlled current source, the A is representing not the dimensionless now because it is a ampere upon voltage. Okay, so it's power inverse, fine. And in case of current controlled voltage source, okay, so it is a trans amplifier and the trans conductance amplifier. Okay, trans resistance amplifier, trans conductance amplifier. Voltage controlled voltage source is an example of trans conductance network. Okay, and current controlled voltage source is an example of trans resistive network. Okay, because you are shifting from current to voltage equivalent network. So in this case your Vs is equal to, because it is a voltage source but controlled by the current, so controlled by the current, so input terminal will be short circuited, so therefore value of Vs is equal to A times of II. So therefore A is equal to V by I. So obviously it's a trans resistance. You can appreciate there is a problem. So I think we will have some limited time. I give you this. I left this wonderful uh, example. It's a very simple, but it's a very conceptual. I think you should attempt this particular problem and you will enjoy it. Though the steps of answers is already there with the difference between V7 and V2 should be fine. And I would have appreciate if you can attempt some other way to approach the same problem. You have to consider the dependent sources. Now here are the some examples. I would advise you to try to solve these problems. Like particularly in this particular slide, your job is to find out the value of I through that 10 ohm resistance. So if you will apply the source transformation, you can simplify modify the network. So therefore, any easier step you can solve. Otherwise, if you start attempting the fresh network, then you have to write down the three mass equations. So better you to simplify the electrical network and then you try to find out, so that the number of steps will be consumed to find your uh, unknown parameter or variable will be consuming the lesser number of steps, and therefore time response will be fast. Again, some additional supplementary problems I have been mentioned here, and I hope that you will be able to solve these problems. If you find any difficulty, don't hesitate to contact me, or we will be meeting along with the next lecture series. Now, in the next lecture, we are going to discuss the topic what we call the transients. Very important concepts or the fundamental aspect to remember in any electrical or electronic network. Whenever there will be a switching will be placed, okay, whenever there will be a switching is placed, now switching network is either used to possess to charge or discharge the existing electrical or electronic network. At the same time, switching is also used to lay some protective device to keep your electrical or electronic asset safe, okay, so that they should not experience any malfunction uh, during the unprecedented hours of situation. um, okay. So therefore, it is a very critical topic. So I will appreciate if you can have your homework before joining me in the next lecture series. Meanwhile, the supplementary sheets you can use to practice certain some additional problems, and hope that this will bring some confidence within yourself. Good luck.